Hello and welcome back to Midlander Gaming. So I'm going to try and finish the series of me learning to play the Waterloo campaign with this episode. We've already gone through the movement phase, the command phase, a little bit about the armies, the shooting phase and the combat phase. That's all pretty much the core mechanics of the game sorted. The only thing really that we haven't gone through is actually winning the game, and there's not much to that phase really, but we'll go over it now, and then we can call the learning the rules section complete, and we can move on to having some practice games. So I've just skipped past from where the hand-to-hand combat phase ends. It just goes over a bit about commanders and how to do the break tests, which we've discussed these really in depth already, or at least skimmed over them, if not in depth. We've gone over the main points either way. So the break tests and the shaken units, it's all pretty much the same as it was for the shooting phase, other than you refer to your section you're taking the test in. So we'll go over to the victory conditions. So I've just had a quick brief through and recap on it, but we'll go through it now. And essentially, the victory conditions, it's not about wiping out your army usually, but it's about breaking their will to fight as much as possible, and exhausting the army more so than out and out taking all the units off the board. And how that's decided essentially is by breaking the army. And to break the army is obviously you have to break the brigades that form that army first. So how do we go about that? As you can see here, we've got a broken brigades section, and a broken brigade is a brigade deemed to be broken at the beginning of a player's turn once half or more of its units are destroyed and removed from the game, shaken, so that's where they've got casualties that equal their stamina value. Remember, you always reduce your stamina value to your maximum stamina value once you've taken your break tests. And units that are off the table unless it's part of the objective. The only caveat to this is if a brigade only consists of 2 units, then it will only be broken once both units qualify as above. So that's just a little extra thing for very, very small brigades. So that's breaking a brigade. It's got a few extra rules there on the or a bit extra detail on going into more information on those. And then we've got what units from broken brigades can do. I mean, I won't go through all the points. Obviously, best buy in the book, always buy the book, and there's a lot more detail in here than I'm going to go over. But I mean, roughly speaking, units from a broken brigade can do very, very little. They can't receive orders, can't use their initiative, they must retire. So essentially they're just going to keep falling back. I think they can, when they're in defensible areas, they can hold them still. But essentially there's very little a broken brigade can do. Commanders from broken brigades can't issue orders and must attempt to leave the table so retiring along with the unit. And that's it. I mean, there's not much to it really. There's a lot more text here that goes into a little bit more detail, but that's the nitty gritty of it. And then a broken army is once half the brigades in the army are broken, then all the remaining brigades are automatically broken as well. So to break a brigade is as it went back here. A brigade is deemed broken at the beginning of a player's turn once half or more of its units are destroyed or shaken. And then a broken army is once half of the brigades in the army are broken, then all the rest of the army is also deemed broken. And that's really it. It's not much more to it than that. Now we've got a little bit of objectives, and this is going to be more for scenarios, so I'm not going to go through the objective sort of rules. And I think what I'll do is when we finally, and I keep saying this and I really apologise, it's not happened yet, but when I finally have some battle reports, then we'll go through the objectives of the specific battle reports at that time. So yeah, what I think this tells me though is sometimes all you need to do is whittle down each unit. The more units or more brigades you can break, the quicker you can break the army. So sometimes maybe once you've hit a certain brigade enough times that's broken, instead of carry on hitting that unit and the other battalions in that brigade, probably best to start hitting something else to try and shake the army's morale as a whole. But you know, that's theory, and I know reality is very much different to theory, Hammer. So we'll see how it goes. The bit the book then goes on to is some advanced rules. I'm not going to go through these. Well, we'll just whiz through them now, but I'm not going to go through them in detail because again, there's quite a lot of information. I think you're best reading the book. But essentially we've got some detail on special formations. So we've talked about formations in, I think, the very first episode. So attack columns, march columns, things like that. This is where we've got some more specialised formations. So things like infantry squares, which are ideal against defending against cavalry. We have mixed formations. I think that's just the two really, actually. So there's just the rules about how to use those formations. It then goes on to the arsenal section, and that's where it's not about football, but about where we've got other unit types and weapons. So howitzers. I think we've got rocket artillery here. We have all the rules associated with that, and then we've got all the rules for buildings, fighting from a building, combat results for a building, setting buildings on fire. You know what, I've not read that, and that is really cool. I definitely want to do that in the game. That would be brilliant. And the last part of the rules really are the special rules for units and commanders themselves. So we've got things like brave and determined charge and elite units and furious charge. Again, I'm not going to read through them. There is a summary of these rules somewhere here, so you can just whiz through those. I mean, you can probably pause the page and see the details of the special rules that you could get. But yeah, first fire, which is quite cool. Yeah, lancers, which are obviously quite good for the cavalry. Marauders, when I've seen marauders gets referred to a lot of rules within the book, so marauders is probably something very worthy of understanding. Reliable is a cool one because you get +1 command. So lots and lots of special rules, and I think this is what gives the flavour to all the different races and different units, because the stats, there's not many stats overall. How many bases you've got, your shooting value, your hand-to-hand combat value, morale and stamina can get a bit samey. So these are the rules that really give the flavour to each unit. So this is really, really good. It's a lot to learn, but like I say, there is a summary there which is brilliant. Just puts it in nice bullet point form so you can refer to that really fast. And then we've got just a couple of rules for commanders, aggressive, decisive, hesitant, things like that. Not all positive, as you can see, loathed and timid and hesitant. So not always a positive rule, it could actually be a negative as well. And in the 100 Days campaign book, it goes into these more and allocates some points to them. But we'll go through that when I'll review or talk about that book in general. And that is it. That is how to play the game in a nutshell. I know I've probably whizzed through it, but I was also conscious that my videos were still long even whizzing through it. And the rest of the book is, I mean, it's really good. It's got some brief section on running a campaign, and then we've got the ever so useful army lists. and the points you can, so you can just point up an army and just build it from scratch like you would with any other war game. And this is kind of more my background, just wargaming in general. Not, I'm not, I have no experience in Napoleonic battles, but this was why this was perfect for me to get into it, because it's, a format I quite like. Build an army, just point it up, just choose whatever you've got built, and have a game. So there we go. And what I'm going to now just quickly do is I'm going to attempt to remove my phone from the clamp, and I'm going to show you where I am with my army, because I just talked about picking an army with what you've got built and painted. So we're going to go over that now, so just bear with me. And we're back. So there we go. That monstrous pile of models, pile of unpainted shame, is where I am with my army so far. I felt like I painted a lot, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to build everything up just so I can see how far I am through it, and that's all it is. So I wouldn't say disheartening, more wow, I've got a lot to do. So there we are, and sorry about the camera shake. And to make matters worse, that isn't everything painted up, because I've still got that set to build, that set to build, and that set to build. So we are nowhere near all my models built and painted. But let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got, in fact, bear with me, and I'm going to put some lighting on. Okay, so let's go in again on this. Let's move these boxes out of the way. So what have we got? We have some line infantry, some more line infantry. This is painted. I've got two stands missing here because I'm in the middle of painting them there. So that's the third line infantry painted, fourth line infantry painted, just need some bases on them. We have some 95th Rifle Company, we have some artillery, and we have the starts of some horse artillery painted, and then we have some dragoons painted, as well as Picton, Wellington, and a normal commander. So that is all that is, to all intents and purposes, fully painted. Then what else do we have? Another line infantry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more units of line infantry to build, or paint rather. 1, 2, 3 Highlanders to paint. Another rifle company, 2 more rifle company, which they will be built up to a 4 company when I do that unit. So they will be built up into a full unit once I've made those. We also have some skirmishing 95th, some spare commanders at the back, some more artillery to build up, some more spare commanders. And what over here we've got some not very good with the cavalry, but I'll try my best. So I think these are hussars here with a certain type of hat, either a shako or a busby. I can't remember which one's which. So we've got some hussars there, some more brigade commanders, and some more hussars here. These ones are slightly different, so this has got the different hat. So same unit but different hats. So I think this is busby and the other one's shako, but or vice versa, I can't remember. Got some more named characters here. Whizzing over here, we've got some Scots Greys, we have some household cavalry partially painted, and way up here we've got some light dragoons. So these are the heavy dragoons here, and we've got some light. And like I say, the cavalry, I've still got another 2 box sets of both cavalry, so pretty much I think everything I've got here with cavalry that you can see, so all these bases and all these bases I can pretty much build again, I think, and obviously the artillery that goes with them, I can build again with these box sets. And likewise, the last box of infantry is another 3 of these units, another 3 of these bases, and another 3 artilleries. So there we go, a huge amount to build and paint still, but excited. However, what I would say is I do feel I've got enough to have a little skirmish game, a little bit of artillery, a little bit of cavalry, and a decent amount of painted infantry. So I am hoping to have some trial games very soon. I might have to let you all down by adding in some unpainted models, but I kind of feel that, you know, it's more important to get some battle reports out there than wait for a fully painted army. I did want to do fully painted, but yeah, I'm just kind of eager to get gaming now. And that is it. So there we go. Love these guys, so I'm going to just keep zooming in on them. Apologies, you've seen them all again, but I just love the British Line Infantry, how they look, the red and white uniform. And why not show off the great models? So there we go. That's where we're at. Next video, I'm not sure what it will be. Maybe painting, maybe a first game. We'll see. I haven't planned it. So thanks for all watching. Thanks for all the comments as well. I'm getting some really good information. If any of you have not seen some of the comments on some of the other videos, there's some guys that have left some really good updates and opinions, and explaining how things work, or explaining some of the history about this. I will try and acknowledge everyone who's posted on a future video as a thanks, because I really appreciate that support off you guys. It really helps me learn the game. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Right, so bye bye for now.